Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Kate and I love all things makeup, skincare, beauty, and fun. Today we're going to be going through my entire eyeshadow palette collection. I don't have as much as folks that are content creators for a living, certainly. That being said, I have more than the average bear needs. I understand that I will not go through this much eyeshadow in my entire lifetime. I understand also that I don't need to buy another eyeshadow palette for the rest of my life. That being said, I love eyeshadow. It's my absolute favorite. And so I will continue to collect eyeshadow palettes. I will never be a minimalist. It's just not in the cards for me. If it's in the cards for you, that's great. I think we all should do what brings us joy. And so for me, collecting eyeshadow is that something. That being said, this is before my declutter, which will be coming within the next couple of weeks. So some of these are going to find a new home because again, I have way too many, and there's ones that like I just don't use or are maybe expired beyond repair. So without any further ado, if you enjoy this type of content, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Love it if you would subscribe to my channel, and without any further ado, for real this time, let's go. Okay, so the first couple of ones that I have here are bigger palettes because I have a drawer where I keep bigger palettes, because the reality of the situation is that I don't typically reach for giant palettes. I also need to desperately reorganize my eyeshadow palette collection. Once I did my declutter last year, I had it like all sorted out and it has all gone to poop. It's like so disorganized, so I need to redo it. So it's going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge here. I apologize in advance. The first couple ones we have are by Blend Bunny. The first one I have is actually discontinued, which is so sad. Let me just reposition myself here. There we go. So this is the Surge palette. I got this one because it was neons, and I loved those Huda Beauty palettes that were the neon ones. I did declutter those last year because they were just old, and they weren't performing the same. And this had pretty comparable ones. I think where I am a little bit like, where I need Blend Bunny to like come in is that these neons should all have an accompanying shimmer. So I think that that's kind of like where this one for me falls a little bit short. That being said, I will not be parting with any of my Blend Bunny ones, especially this one, because finding really pigmented, really quality neon shadows is so tricky. The next one that I have by Blend Bunny is their Lure palette. This one came out this year, I'm pretty sure, at the beginning of this year actually. And of course it is a mermaid theme palette. I absolutely love this. I love Blend Bunny's monochromatic palettes. I just think that they are the best. So I of course love this one. I love that you can do the pastels, I love the midtones, and I love that they always have like the accompanying deep shades. This was an especially beautiful palette. I love purples, greens, and pinks. I'm getting more into blues as we go, so super excited to have this one. Super glad it's part of my collection. This was their Sugar and Grunge. It was their take on a Halloween palette, if I'm not mistaken, and it's also just stunning. I like that this one has a mirror. That being said, mirror's not like an end all for me, because the reality of the situation is if I am in a setting where I am doing my makeup, I usually have something sitting right in front of me. But it is nice that this has a mirror. I love the colors in here. I feel like these pastels are so stunning. Again, I love that they did the midtones and then there's like some accompanying sparkle. Stunning, and I love it. Next is actually the one that I have on my eyes today, and this is by Revolution. Is it Makeup Revolution or Revolution? No, it's Revolution. So this is the Grinch palette. Wait a minute, what is going on here? I'd love to talk, but I'm in a hurry to get home and be alone, is the name of this palette apparently. God, what a name. But I digress. The Grinch is one of my absolute favorite Christmas movies. It's a pretty fun color story. I think if I had to complain, this red that looks red in here is this. It looks orange compared to the red on my mouth. So I think that that's my only kind of gripe, is that they could have done a little bit more with the red, but the greens are actually pretty nice. Some of them are a little bit similar in tone. That being said, I think I paid like $15 for this palette. Revolution is not a brand that I have, I think, literally any other palette from. typically because I hear a lot of like mixed things about their makeup, so I'm like, I don't really know that I want to like gamble with my money here. But I am actually pretty happy that I have this one. I think it's so, first of all, so cute. I don't love that his little thing is fraying, but I did feel like they blended pretty well, the shadows that I have played with in this one, and I'm happy to have it in my collection. This one is one of the only, actually I think it is the only like mega palette that I have from ColourPop, and this isn't even as big as some of their mega palettes are. This is their Fade into Hue mega palette, and it's a rainbow palette. I love this one. I don't love that there's pressed glitters in here. 1, 2, 3 of them to be precise. That being said, I love the gradient. It's giving very Blend Bunny before Blend Bunny, because I'm pretty sure this came out before the Blends palette did. But I love this color story. I think ColourPop's formula is nice. Is it my absolute favorite? No. Will it get the job done? And do they have some really fun and unique color stories for a more cost-effective price? Yes. So ColourPop, I feel like this year has not been their year, but I am happy I have that palette. I have a whole slew of ColourPop palettes, but they're over here, and most of them are 9pan, so you'll see later in the video. There's much more to be coming. This is the only remaining. I have my original Jekyll & Hill palette, but of course I don't play with it because I got that in 2016 when it came out, and I did not repurchase it because it's in 2023 going on 2024. It's not a revolutionary palette. I have it for nostalgic reasons, but I also have this one. This was her volume 2. And honestly, this one is like more my speed in terms of like what I'm gonna play with. That being said, this one even is getting pretty old. That I do enjoy this color story though. I love the oranges and the purples and the pinks. Morphe's formula, again, like in 2016, even all the way, I would say until probably 2018, 2019, their formula like was pretty good, especially because it could get it at a pretty cost-effective price. They always had, of course, like affiliate codes so you could get money off, but I think in the day and age of 2023 going into 2024, they don't compete. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm gonna go for something that's cost-effective and not my favorite formula, but has good color stories, I'm gonna go with ColourPop. You know, I'm not gonna go with Morphe. And they did like a whole bunch of like really crappy stuff this year to their employees that like I just can't get on board with. So Morphe's not like one of those brands that I'll be supporting going forward, but certainly I'm not gonna just like throw this away because I don't like what the brand turned into. But I would love to play with this again because it's such a good color story. These are going to be some odds and ends palettes, a couple of like one-offs in terms of like brands. So the first one is by Viseart. This is their Violet Étendue palette, and this one is pretty. I don't use this one as much as maybe I should, but it is Viseart has a really nice formula. I will give them that. And this palette is no exception. Purple is probably my favorite color of all time to wear on my eyes. I have brown eyes for reference, and I find that brown and purple just really, they do the thing. This shade is really beautiful all over the lid. These two are kind of similar. Like I feel like they could have done a little bit better in terms of like variant, but I do love this palette, and I like that it's so compact, you know, and it does have a mirror. So like in terms of a palette's versatility, I feel like this hits the mark. This hits the mark. They're a little more expensive than some other brands, but I enjoy them nonetheless. From Yoma Beauty, I have this one. This is their Coming to America, the Royal Edit, Queen to Be. So this is what this looks like. It's super cute. I love the neons. I have had this one for a couple years now. So this was, I would use this in conjunction with those Huda Beauty palettes. This one definitely came out after those, but it came out before the Surge palette by Blend Bunny. And I just think that the color story is beautiful. It's not perhaps the most cohesive. You know what I mean? Like this is definitely, in my opinion, like a palette that needs to be accompanied by something. In my opinion, it's like a companion palette, but I do enjoy it. It was a nice formula. I don't think you can get your hands on this anymore. I could be wrong, but I think it's discontinued. Next is this one by Milani, and it's their Ungilded Most Loved Mattes palette. So it's very standard, basic matte palette. The formula is good. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing like super special. I don't reach into this one a ton, honestly. Mostly this has been kept in my collection because I use it as like a reference point. Like if I'm talking about like a good drugstore option, this one might come up because it is a good drugstore option. It's just that in terms of like what I'm looking to do most days, it's not a matte look. You know what I mean? I really like something a little more colorful, and I love to have a shimmer. A couple more like Odd Bunny ones. This drawer is set up really weird, which again, I can't stress this enough. I need to like get it together and organize this. This one is also by Viseart. This is their Choo Choo palette, or it's one of their Petite Pros. I got this one not this year. I think they re-released it this year, but I got this a couple years ago. I actually really enjoy this one. I think because of the way my makeup is set up, and that one's like down in a bottom drawer where I never see it because it's so tiny, like so tiny. But it is a super cute color story. I love like a neon coral with a pink. I just think that it looks absolutely stunning. And I really like Viseart's formula. So this is one of those like that I don't use enough, but I love. I have this little one by Huda Beauty. I also have a slew of other ones from Huda Beauty, but again, they're like on the other side. But this was their Amethyst Obsessions. It's a nice little palette. It's a nice little purple palette. Again, I like purple. I had the neutral version of this one too. I got a Huda mystery box probably like 3 years ago, and this came in it. So I like it just fine. It's nothing like super revolutionary. I feel like she has other formulas like in her holiday palette that comes out every year. I feel like that formula is like to die for. This one is good. I won't say it's bad. But yeah, that is the Huda Beauty Amethyst Obsessions. Pat McGrath, I have some other ships as well, but again, like these are all like little Odd Bunny ones. This is her, what is this one? Divine Rose Luxe Quad, Eternal Eden. This is a really handy dandy one. I should actually probably put this in my work bag because it's really convenient to use, like one and done. I really enjoy Pat McGrath's formula on most of her cosmetics, if not all. And I know people are like so over the pink and mauve tones. I love pink and mauve, so I'm like, speak for yourselves. No, but like I love pink and mauve, so I'm always happy to see it. That being said, I can see how like if she can do these really special, amazing formulas, why wouldn't you branch out into other color stories? You know what I mean? But I digress. This one is super pretty. It's nothing mind-blowing, and this one doesn't have any of the special shades. I think I paid like $60 for this. I don't know that I would recommend that unless it has a special shade in it. That being said, it's a timeless classic. It's a timeless classic that's like very easy to use. A lot of these are going to be from Unearthly Cosmetics. I love Unearthly Cosmetics. So the first one I want to talk about is this one. It's their Resurgence palette. This was in collaboration with Heather Austin. I love Heather Austin. So this is what this one looks like. It's a super funky color story, but it's also something that I don't have anything like in my collection. I have of course, some of these like really bright colors I do definitely have in my collection, but these duochromes are super special, especially when you consider the layout. It is a little funky, it's a little bit different, but I love it. I love Unearthly's formula. I'll be honest, I didn't try them when they were Alien Cosmetics, so I can't speak to like that progress, but I can say that I started buying from them in 2022, and since then it's been only like uphill great things. Next we have this one. This is their Not Normal palette. One of my favorite palettes. Like, hello, so pretty. Such a unique grungy color story. I love the art on the front of this. Absolutely love. So happy to have. Next we have Fairy Frolic, another really unique, fun, grungy color story. I really enjoy the shimmers in here, but I also really love the way that they added these like mid-tone jewel tones. I feel like you can create such fun and funky looks with this one. Absolutely love. This is one of my favorite palettes of all time. This is the Unearthly Cosmetics, of course, Sleepover palette. I love pinks. Okay, so there's that to be noted. I love pinks, and this one, of course, has the pinks, the purple, the red, the black. I'm pretty sure this came out around Valentine's Day, if not last year, the year before. And it's just the perfect Valentine's Day palette, in my opinion, and I love it. Next, we have the Strawberry Milkshake, or no, yes. Yes, strawberry milkshake palette. This one is like just so darn cute. I love of course, I love the pinks, the purples, the greens. This yellow right here is like a super special, beautiful shade. I love this palette. I feel like not enough people talk about this one. Unearthly has been like coming out with the hits this year, I feel like. So a lot of their older ones maybe like haven't had as much time in the spotlight this year, but they have had some real gems. Another favorite, this is their Lore palette, and it's just like very grungy, very, you know, creepy. I love this shade right here. Super special. Like if you watch, I don't know if you can see. It's very shifty. I digress. Very beautiful. Love this. Sorry, my palettes again are like getting out of order here. Okay, back to Unearthly. This is another one of my favorite ones. This is the Dead of Night palette. I mean, you'll see it and you'll know why. There's lots of purples, lots of blues, lots of greens, and like it's just so beautiful and spooky and fun. This has a really great formula. Love, 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 love this color story. I feel like this one is so unique. This is their Leather and Lace palette, and it's just like, it's so grungy and beautiful and unique. I love this palette. I love this color story. I feel like this one is perfect for fall. I just think it's like, I like the monochromatic rows as well. Like, so each row, you know, you can create your own look, or you can do like little quads if you wanted to. I just think it's stunning and I love it. This is a one-off. I have at least at least two other palettes from Give Me Glow, but this is their Vivid Rose palette. This one is absolutely stunning. Pinks and purples. They don't have my absolute favorite formula. It's just a little bit like lightweight and thin in consistency as far as the mattes go, but their shimmers are absolutely stunning. I love this palette. I have a slew of Odin's Eyes palettes. However, every time they collaborate with Angelica Nyqvist, it's a different size than the rest of them, so they don't fit quite right in the drawers. So these are going to be Angie's collabs. So the first one I have is their Hella palette. This one is no longer available, but it is one of my favorite palettes of all time. So this is what this color story looks like. Just like so many beautiful, creepy, swampy greens with that splash of pink and purple, this beautiful multi-chrome. Just like absolutely stunning. I wish that they would have done another round of this one, because they really did something with this collaboration, and it's super special and I love it. Very recently, I picked up both of her Halloween collabs. So the first one I have is the Little Ghost, and I'm just so excited. I have not had a chance to play with these yet, full transparency. So this is what this one looks like. It's just so cute. Like, this reminds me of like a children's Halloween fantasy. Like, just so cute and like spooky, but like playful. Love, 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 love. And then of course there is the Trick or Treat palette, which is more of a traditional fall / Halloween vibe, a little bit more spooky. And this is what this one looks like. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I love the way that Angelica looks at color and brings like the way that she envisions looks and envisions color stories is like nothing short of genius. I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We're going back to Unearthly, apparently. There was one back there. This was their Don't Be Jelly palette. This came out earlier this year. Absolutely love. Absolutely love. It has a couple of like funky shades. This one here especially is like very beautiful. It's a little, I think this is a re-release, because I think that they had one originally. I never had the original, but I am happy to have this one because it does have a couple of really special shades in here. And I've gotten quite a bit of use out of this year. Love it. Next is Too Faced, and this is their Italian Spritz palette. This also came out this year. This was actually like a surprise in terms of it worked so well. I actually really, really loved this one. I am rooting for Too Faced in the sense that like I want them to have their moment again. Like I want them to have a peach collection, but not a peach collection. You know what I mean? I want them to do something colorful, something different. Ooh, mine still smells quite nice. So this was a step in the right direction for Too Faced. I am rooting for them to get it together. This is my only remaining BH Cosmetics palette. This is the Sweet Shop Cherry on Top palette. I probably won't ever get rid of this. It's just too good. It's too good. Like, where did this go? You know what I mean? Like, where did this quality go? I know they sold To Make a Revolution, and that ultimately explains where it went, but absolutely stunning. Absolutely love this color story. I wish that this BH Cosmetics would come back. By Urban Decay. I think this is my only remaining one, which is crazy. This is their Wild West palette. I don't play with this one as much as I should, but I do love this color story. Like, it's very fun, very fun. That's not entirely true. It is pretty fun with like their splashes of like this teal and this teal, but you can do also like pretty neutral. I like this palette. I am glad that I have gotten to hold on to it. It's not going to be the most thrilling formula that you ever touch, but if you like easy everyday looks with easy to work with formulas, Urban Decay's gotcha. Speaking of easy everyday looks, this is the Born This Way, the Natural Nudes by Too Faced. This is a pretty basic palette, but that being said, it does what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be like a basic, everyday, neutral eyeshadow palette. Is it a revolutionary formula? No. Is it my favorite formula? No. Does it do the job? Yes. So that is their Natural Nudes. Two more palettes in this drawer. This one is by Ace Beauté. This one is discontinued. This is their Nostalgia palette. I really loved this one. This was before they reformulated, but this was like a super fun, colorful, like just very tropical summertime palette. You can't get your hands on this one anymore. That's the Nostalgia palette by Ace Beauté. This next one is by Uoma, and this is their Royal Heritage palette from their Black Magic collection. This one is also stunning. I feel like this is probably my favorite palette that they have ever done. A lot of their other ones haven't really spoken to me, but I simply love that one. Last one in that really hodgepodge drawer is this one by e.l.f. This is their Carnival Candy palette. This one's super cute. It's probably not the most versatile in terms of like, this blue is like a little bit deep, but I really do enjoy the quality of these palettes. They are a little bit fragile though, so if you're traveling with them, I would just kind of bear that in mind. So I spoke of one of Blend Bunny's palettes earlier, saying that that was their Halloween launch. I misspoke. The Sickly Sweet was their Halloween launch. And this is what this one looks like. It's a little bit more of a hodgepodge and less of that monochromatic, but nonetheless, Blend Bunny has just like such a beautiful formula. I really love their pastels. I do find that anytime I'm wearing a pastel, I want to lay down a pretty opaque base, but love this palette, love this color story. So we're going to get into my Sigma palettes. The first one I have here is the New Mod. This is just a really beautiful neutral color story. I really enjoy Sigma's formula, and I really enjoy this palette. Next we have the Enchanted palette. This is probably my favorite Sigma palette that I own. The brush is in here for some reason. So this is what this color story looks like, and it's just really pretty. It's just like, it is enchanted. You know what I mean? Like, it's very like mystical, fairy tale. Love this palette. This is one of my favorite neutral palettes. This is the Ambiance palette by Sigma, and it's just a neutral, warm lover's dream. It's just so simple and easy, great formula, super easy to like create looks that are monochromatic or that are very simple for every day. Can't get enough. And then finally, sorry, a couple of these apparently I left the brushes in. I'm not really sure what I was thinking there. But this is the Cinderella palette. I really enjoyed this one as well. Blue is like one of those colors that I'm kind of coming around to, but nonetheless, this is super pretty. There are a handful of Sigma palettes that I want to get my hands on, including the Alice in Wonderland one and the Sleeping Beauty one. I should have done it during Black Friday, but that's okay. I do have one palette by Charlotte Tilbury, and this is her Instant Eye palette, Smoky Eyes Are Forever. I got this in a lucky bag from Beautylish. And I do like the formula. It's not my absolute favorite formula, but it's definitely nice. Her palettes are pretty expensive. This one's nice because it really breaks down different color stories here, and I feel like there's a number of looks that you can do with this palette, so I do enjoy this one. Last two in this row are both my Pat McGrath palettes. This is the Divine Rose palette, and this one does have her special shades in it. Love this one. And this is probably my favorite Pat McGrath palette that I own. And this is her Utopian Dream palette. This one, I just feel like this shade is really like what makes it so special. It's a special shade in terms of texture, but it's also special in terms of being a multi-chrome. I just love this palette so much. So this one was new this year. This was their Royal Europe palette. This one had super jewel tones in it, and then this whole row here are multi-chromes. They are a black based multi-chrome, so I think it works the best that the rest of the color story is pretty mid to deep toned, but it is beautiful nonetheless. I'm trying to see if I can get them to shift. You guys can see a little bit. Beautiful. Love, love, love this palette. I would like to see them do more with multi-chromes in the future, and I would like to see them do multi-chromes that aren't just black based. This one came out, I think last year, maybe the year before. This is their Fêtes de Provence palette, and it's just like a beautiful springtime palette. I feel like Nomad is one of those brands that has consistently gotten better with time. I really love this formula. This is their Bosque Nuboso de Monteverde. This is just such a fun color story. Absolutely love all of these colors. This one, again, like just really has a great formula with it. So this, again, absolute beautiful palette. This one also came out this year. This was their Verona Amora de Morte. And this one is so pretty. So you have, of course, your reds and pinks. It came out at Valentine's Day. And then you have your blues and blacks and purples. It's the Love and Death palette. And I just thought this was so well done. Love that palette. This one I'm pretty sure is discontinued. This is their Orient Express palette. This one I feel like didn't get a ton of love. Like even when it launched, I didn't feel like it was talked about quite enough. But I really love this one. This shadow right here is especially special. It's a little bit it's actually quite duochromy. Like if you guys are looking at it, it looks gold. But if I shift it around, you can kind of see it goes to like more of a purple copper. It's so pretty. I enjoyed this palette. It's a little bit of a bummer that they are discontinuing it, but that being said, I feel like their color stories and formula have come a long way, so I can understand why they made that choice. Also have this one. This is the Paradise Islands palette. Very summer, very fun color story. Again, great formula. Love this palette. Last but not least, is their Tokyo hair. What is this? It's based in Tokyo. I cannot remember what it's like. Harajuku. I can't remember. But regardless, this was the palette that got me into the brand. This went like viral when it first came out, and it's just so pretty. So pretty. I do feel like this formula is not on par with their current formula. That being said, at the time, I loved this formula. I think what kind of can throw things for a little bit of a loop is that center row is a cream to powder formula, so that can be like a little bit tricky to navigate, but nonetheless I still love this and I'm happy to have it in my collection. The first palette that I picked up from Cosmic Brushes, I think they're going to be Cosmic Beauty maybe, anyways, is the Gothic palette. This is the smallest one of the ones that I got, but I think it launched for Halloween time, and it's just like a beautiful purple palette. It's probably not the one that I'm the most excited about from Cosmic Brushes, but I do love purple, and I was already placing a pretty big order from them, so I was like, well, if I'm gonna place this large order, I might as well get all the ones that I want. So I grabbed this one. Also picked up their Muse palette. Cosmic Brushes has been one of those brands that's like been slightly frustrating in terms of they sell out every single time. And last year especially, I feel like they would sell out within the first like 20 minutes tops. Like you had 20 minutes to get to the site and order. So that was kind of frustrating. So I'm glad I was able to finally get my hands on them. This is the Muse palette. I'm super excited about this. I can't wait to play. Of course, I have not been able to try any of their formulas, so I'm really, really curious to kind of see what I've been missing, because I feel like so many of my favorite content creators have been talking about them, and I just have not been able to join in on the merriment. The one that started it all, in terms of like their virality, was the Serenity palette. So naturally I did have to pick this up. So this is what this one looks like. So pretty. I think this one here might be a bit of a duochrome. Yeah, or at least a little bit shifty. I am super excited to play with this palette. I love the packaging. I like that they're sleek and not super bulky. You'll see when we get to the other side of my vanity. I have quite a few from Glamlite, and I love Glamlite, but their packaging is such a pain in the butt. It's insane. It's insane. The next one I picked up was their Delicious Delights. I'm pretty confident this came out this year, and this one has some special shifty shades, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Specifically this one, you can see it's like a bright magenta, but if I pull it down here, you can kind of see it's green. If I go back, it looks like it's a green shadow. Super excited to play with that one. This one is super, super fun. Cannot wait. The last Cosmic Brushes palette that I picked up, of course, was the Winter Wonderland palette. Blues is not one of those colors that I typically wear all the time. I have a cooler skin tone, so one would kind of think that I might like the color blue more than I do, but I also have brown eyes, and so I think if I had like an icy blue eye color, I might appreciate blue a little bit more. But nonetheless, I'm trying to get into it more because it's fun, and this one has a lot of purple as well, and this one also has some really special shifty shades. This one specifically, you can see when I tilt it back, it's purple. So pretty. I cannot wait to play with this. I've seen such good reviews about this, so I'm super excited to be able to finally know what everyone's talking about, honestly. Okay, so the 4 palettes that I got from Odin's Eye, recently, I have more Odin's Eye palettes, but these are the 4 most recent ones. This is their Christmas Eve palette. So glad to finally have my hands on this. This one, of course, has a lot of blues. This one looks like it's going to be a special shade, but I do love that they threw in some pops of yellow and green, and of course purple. Love this color story. Cannot wait to play. Odin's Eye makes one of my favorite formulas, so I'm super excited. The next one is their Merry Christmas palette, and out of the 2, this one is my favorite. And that's why. There's a ton of beautiful greens. I love the pop of pink. There's the dark green, the red, the orange. I just feel like this is such a stunning, stunning palette. These are sold out yet again, which should tell them that they like really did something with the formula and the color story, because anyone that has those palettes that I have seen speaks so highly of them. They launched 2 more for this year. The first one is the Hey Reindeer palette. This one's a little bit more pastel, and I've seen a lot of folks saying that they don't really get Christmas with this, and I think I kind of get it. So the same way that like Angelica's Little Ghost palette does not scream traditional Halloween, it's giving like kid fun, like whimsical part of Halloween. This is giving the kid fun, whimsical part of Christmas. Like, think like Christmas candies. I know like right now, for instance, pastel Christmas like ornaments and decorum is like super trendy, and that is what this is giving. Like, this is not giving traditional Christmas. It's giving like gumdrops and candy canes and elves and like fair, you know, just like very whimsical Christmas. So to that point, like, if I feel like if you think about it that way, like, it really makes much more sense than if you're thinking of like traditional Christmas. You're not going to have the red and the green, but I'm super excited to play with this one. And then last but certainly not least is their Snow Dream palette. This one has a holographic shade that I'm super excited to play with. And this one is also like very pastel, but I think a little bit more traditional. It almost kind of, to me, gives a little bit like of a folksy Christmas. So it's not going to give like glamorous Christmas, but like think of like Christmas with like a hippie. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be those like fun, whimsical elements, but then there are a little bit of like a splash of tradition. But like, it's just, I don't know. I love this. Love this color story. I cannot wait. What is this? Frankincense. I can't wait to play with that one. It looks so good. So we'll start with the Solmon 2 palette. This is one of my favorite palettes in my collection. It's just stunning. I can't get it out of the packaging, but here we go. So this is that color story. Just, I feel like it's so versatile, so beautiful. Love this palette. I'm also going to try to speed up a little bit because I do feel like I'm taking forever. Collaborations that came out earlier this year, and the first one was with Lauren May Beauty, and this was the Sea Talk palette. This is probably my most used one out of all three, which is ironic because I've said multiple times that blue is not my favorite color to work with, and yet this one is my favorite palette out of the three, honestly. And it's just so beautiful and like easy to work with. If I want a neutral eye look, I feel like I can do that really easily, but if I also want to add like a pop or I want a more special look, I can do that with this palette. I love it. I love this palette. I love all three of these. Let me be like crystal clear about that. This is the Flora Story. This was with Makeup Just for Fun, and I think in terms of like the general public, I think that this one was most people's favorite because it has like really easy to work with greens and purples, and I totally agree. It's absolutely stunning. I love this palette, and I just think the blue one is like, it was just different, and I had a lot of fun creating looks with it. Last but certainly not least was the Planet Spirit palette, and this was with Betty Jean. This one's so good. It's so loud, but it's so good. It's like, it's just very Betty Jean, and it's so good. It's like, look at this color story. I think this one was probably I don't want to say the least popular because it implies that people didn't love it. I suspect most people loved it. I feel like everyone that I saw talk about all three of these really enjoyed them. I think it's the loudest. Oh, I know. It's the loudest one, and so I think if you don't love color, what would you do with this? You know what I mean? There's no way to be neutral at all or soft with this palette, and that's kind of why I love it, because it's so fun. This shade right here is this one, Fauna, is like such a special shifty shade. Oh, it's just so good. I love this palette. Love this palette. So I have some from Lethal Cosmetics. The first one we have here is the Velvet Dusk. I want to say, is this the one that came out this year? No, definitely not. So this one's like a little bit more grungy. I honestly feel like this one kind of gets lost in the sauce in my collection. It is really beautiful, and I enjoy Lethal's formula. They don't make my favorite formula, but I do enjoy them nonetheless. I feel like they have really fun, colorful color stories. The next one we have is the Night Flower. I'm thinking of the next one. This one came out last year. I'm pretty confident. Yes, I think this one came out last year, and the next one I'm going to talk about came out this year. Just a really beautiful blue and purple palette. These do blend really lovely together, and I like that it's not monochromatic, but it is almost monochromatic in the sense that like all the colors play so beautifully together. Love. This is the one, I'm pretty sure, that came out this year. This is the Wildflower palette, and this is what this looks like. So pretty. I feel like it's the perfect companion to that Night Flower palette, and it has like this pop of bright pink. It has these like teals. I love this palette. Love. Had so much fun playing with this. Also, Lethal Cosmetics, most of their palettes, you can pop the shadows out. So if you can certainly keep them in their packaging that they come in, but you can also like rearrange the palette, create your own palette. And I think that allows for a lot of versatility. The next one we have here is the After Dark palette. And I remember wanting this so bad when it launched. It is a really beautiful color story. I feel like when it launched, it was like, oh almost, I don't want to say unheard of, but it was like pretty unique at that time because it does have some really bright pops. I feel like it came out several years ago and it's not quite as like unique and groundbreaking now. That being said, I still enjoy it and it's so pretty. I have 3 of their little 6 pans, and I don't think any of these are available, but this one I apparently took the sleeve off of, so I have no idea what the color story or the name of the palette was, but this is what this one looks like. A little bit yellow and coral. Super cute, super fun. This is their Destiny palette. A super muted pink and purple palette. Also, like, just very easy for every day. And last but not least, we have their Roots palette. And this one's just a little bit different. It's fun. Like, I really like that even though the orange isn't going to blend well with the greens and the blues, it's like a very complementary palette. That's the word I'm looking for. Those are all of the ones I believe from Lethal. I'm going to warn you, I have a lot of palettes from Glamlite, so I'm going to try to be pretty quick because this video is already going to be so long. So the first ones that I have are from their cocktail collection. So the first one is the Dirty Martini. This is a perfect green color story. Absolutely love. The formula on all 4 of these is absolutely to die for. The next one is the Chocolate Martini, which if you like neutrals, absolutely amazing. Next is the Margarita palette. This one is probably my second favorite. It's just such a fun pink, oh, just such a good color story. Absolutely love. And then my personal favorite is the Wine, and of course it is because it's purple. Worth noting, pink is my favorite color. Purple's my favorite eyeshadow, with pink being close second. But this palette is just like so fun. There's so many different shades of purple, and I feel like all of these shades of purple are shades that I enjoy. There are shades of purple that I do not love, and that I have like bad associations with. None of those purples are them. I have a couple from their Hershey's Kisses collection. I don't have, I think there was a blue one and a white one or a brown one. I only have the pink and purple because I didn't think I was going to use the other ones. Of course I have the purple. Again, shades of purple that I absolutely love. I think this one is probably like what makes this one stand out a little bit from the Wine palette because this is like such a unique and super deep shade. Absolutely love, but this is what I was talking about when I talk about the packaging. These can be kind of tricky to store because they're just awkward in terms of their shape. And then, of course, there's the Lava Cake Hershey's Kiss palette. And this is what this one looks like. A Valentine's Day Dream. Love. We're throwing it back a little bit with this one. This is their Street Taco palette. This reminds me of like OG Glamlite. It's just so cute. I love this. Next, I don't have the bigger version of this. I only got the little one, but this is her Pot 2 collaboration with Michaela. It's a beautiful green and brown and gold color story. Perfect for like St. Patrick's Day, really. Also a throwback. This is their Red Velvet Cupcake palette. The color story, like looking at it now, I can see how it's a little bizarre, but I like that it does have a true red, and then it has like some purples and pinks. A little bizarre, but still cute nonetheless. I have both of the Icy palettes. So I have this one here, which is the Cherry palette. Absolutely stunning. And of course, we have the Blue Raspberry. I use this one significantly less, obviously. This is also very mid-tone. You can see like right here and right here, these two are a little bit lighter, but the rest is very mid-tone. So it's the same with Cherry. They're kind of a one-trick pony. I also, of course, have the Chucky palette. This came out at Valentine's Day. I did not pick up any of the Halloween palettes. Admittedly, I was overwhelmed. I was like, I don't even know where to start. I do have every intention of grabbing some of those, but right now we're just going to work with what we have. So this is that Chucky palette, super grungy, super different from most things in my collection, and I loved the quality on this one. I have both of their Scooby-Doo collaborations. So the first one came with 2 smaller palettes. So this one was the Rut-Row Raggy. Absolutely stunning. I think this is probably one of my favorite collabs that they did. And then it also comes with Creeps and Crawls. Also one of my favorite ones that they've ever done. They're just so perfect. The color stories, so well done. Also have this big kahuna that came out earlier this year, and this is what this looks like. I'm happy I have it. I don't want to say that I'm not. What I'm not happy about is how darn big this is. But the color story is beautiful. The quality is beautiful. The packaging is beautiful. It has that, the one that flips. It's all beautiful. It's just so big that it's a little bit tricky to store. Along that same vein is the original Michaela palette with Glamlite. However, this color story is so good. It's so good. This is like, I know her P. Louise collab was like a love and passion project, but this color story, so much better. I just love this. Love. Speaking of giant palettes, this is their cake palette. This is like such a throwback. Oh my god. This was like when Glamlite was like on the rise. This ridiculous cake palette. However, like, look at this color story. It's so good. It's so good. I love it. It's a rainbow palette, of course. And honestly, a lot of these next ones are rainbow palettes, but I still love it. It's like the packaging is just like, it's a bit kitschy and it's just so cute. Love. And I kept it in the oven because it's like, it's just too cute. I couldn't not, you know, I couldn't not. Next we have the Barbie collaboration with Glamlite. This one came out at such a weird time. It came out after summer. It was in the fall of 2022. Such a weird time. I didn't pick it up from Glamlite. I did pick it up from TJ Maxx, but this is what that color story looks like, and it's stunning. Great quality, great formula, rainbow palette. Love it nonetheless. Along that same vein, this is also a rainbow palette. This is their Ice Cream Dream palette. This is probably still one of my favorite palettes from them. It is just the most perfect pastel palette. There is no better pastel palette. You cannot convince me. It also, like, up here, you have a little bit of neon action going on. I wish that they would come out with a neon palette, honestly. I don't care, like, what they have to do to make it happen, but I want them to make it happen. Okay, last food themed. This was oh my gosh, the Glam Donut, and it's just so silly. It's like a squishy, I don't know if you can see, squishy packaging, and then this was the color story. So pretty, so pretty. Love. My last palette by Glamlite, I did get the Strawberry Shortcake palette. It's the Berrylicious palette, and it's just so cute. So cute. Pink and green. Love. Love, love, love. Okay, I have a couple of one-offers here. Two of these are from Give Me Glow. So this is the Pastel Dreams. Speaking of pastel palettes, this is another absolutely stunning one. I'm not sure why this one's crumbling. Give Me Glow does not have my favorite matte formulation. It's just super thin and almost kind of chalky. They blend out okay on the eyes. They're nice enough to work with, but the real stars of the show are their shimmers. They're like, they all have super, like, with the exception maybe of yellow, you can kind of see they have like a super stark silver white reflect in them. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Love. And the last one I have from Give Me Glow is their Juicy Olive palette. And this one is just a cult classic. Like, so many people were obsessed with this palette. It was sold out for such a long time. It's like the OG grunge palette from indie makeup, I feel. Absolutely love. I have a couple more of these one-offs. This one is from Alamar Cosmetics, and it's their Spanglish palette. Super cute. I don't use this one nearly enough, clearly, but super cute palette. And then I have one palette from Kaleidos, and it is their Flower Punk palette. And it has super unique packaging, and then the color story. It's just stunning. Stunning. I love this palette. It honestly, it gets lost in the sauce because it's in that same drawer with Glamlite, which honestly, they need their own drawer. that nothing else is in because everything gets lost in there, especially because they do have some like compact palettes, but so many of them are like these giant honkers. Everything gets lost in there. So we've reached Natasha Denona. So this is the bronze palette, my favorite Natasha Denona palette of all time. A classic color story, perfect for every day if you love warm tones. It doesn't get any better than that. Next we have her retro palette, and this one is also absolutely stunning. Just a very classical, romantic color story. Love. This is her My Dream palette. This is probably my second favorite Natasha Denona palette of all time. It's very romantic and classic, but it has a little bit more depth than the retro palette, and so for that reason I like this one a little bit more. Love this palette. This is her pastel palette. Absolutely stunning. Natasha Denona also has the feature where you can pop her shadows out of the back of palettes, which is very convenient if you look at this one. I'm not sure if it's still around. It was supposed to be limited edition, but it was like limited edition for like 3 years. This is her Love palette. It's got super mixed reviews. I really loved it. Love this color story. 10 out of 10. Next is the Glam palette. I would say this one is probably, with the exception of the one that launched this year, up until that, this was probably everyone's favorite. It's just like a very easy, cool tone, everyday palette. Beautiful. The last Natasha Denona palette that I have, I need to like get some of her newer ones, probably at the end of this year perhaps, is the Zendo palette. This one got super mixed reviews. I really like it. I'm not sure. The color story is a little wonky. But nonetheless, I still think it's beautiful and it performs well for me. I have a handful of Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. The first one is this Rose Metals palette. The packaging is kind of falling apart, not ideal. But this is what this one looks like. It's very muted and grunge. And of course, it's pretty shimmer heavy. This one came in a little bit broken, but I do enjoy this one when I'm in the mood for it. Love. This is the newest one in my collection, and it is the Fall Romance palette. It is a really pretty, muted, like, fall color story, hence the name, but I did enjoy it. These next three are, like, relics from another time. The first one is the Norvina palette. Oh my god, this one is so old and crusty and dusty, but I loved this palette. I can like vividly remember where I was when I ordered this palette and when I got this palette. It's classic. Speaking of relics, the Soft Glam, also a relic. That being said, I do think they still make this one. This is just a warm toned lover's dream. So easy to play with. Love this palette. This is another one. I remember where I was when I ordered. All right, the last one from the vault here. This is the Jackie Aina palette. Oh my god. This is the best palette in terms of formula that Anastasia has ever done. Was with Jackie Aina. Love, 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 love. I think that this is one that like the formula is changing on it, so it does not perform quite the same, but still. A relic. My last Anastasia Beverly Hills palette is the Novu palette, and again, very muted, but very easy and neutral, fun to play with. Beautiful and light. 2 palettes here from Adept Cosmetics. I have a couple that I really want to order from them, and I'm just hoping they're still available. Oh my gosh, it's like the Archer, I think. That palette, I think, is still available. And then they had a holiday launch this year that I actually have my eyes on, so I need to, like, get my hands on those. But the 2 that I do have is the Plain Jane Remastered. And this is all special shades. And it's all special shimmer shades. So I find that sometimes I don't play with this as much as I should just because of that. On the contrary, this is the Heather Austin palette. One of the most beautiful palettes I've ever seen in my life. The special shades in here, like you can see this blue to purple. Stunning. Love. First up is Main Squeeze. Probably my least favorite of their monochromatic palettes. Got the least amount of use out of it. On the contrary, I have Orange You Glad that I love. So pretty, so fun. Next, in the same vein, we have Baby Got Peach. Love. For some reason, it still has this in it. I've definitely played with that palette. Not sure why I kept that in there. Next, we have Miss Bliss. This is pretty monochromatic, but also has some pink in there. Also really enjoy that one. I only have one yellow, and it's the Honey palette. I remember when Raw Beauty Christie did a review on this palette. This one is pretty old. I don't see any signs of anything fishy. Thank heavens, because I love this one. Next, we have Mint to Be. Also thought I should keep this in there. This one's just like such a fun little minty palette. Perfect for spring, in my opinion. This is Aura and Out. It came out with Miss Bliss, and I think it's like In a Trance. It's like a blue one. So pretty. Not totally monochromatic, but pretty nonetheless. Sage the Day. This actually came out this year, and I picked it up. I think this is my only ColourPop purchase of the entire year. I just felt like nothing was like groundbreaking enough, I guess. But I did love this one. It does have like a pretty special shade in there, and it has a little bit of depth. I have the Star Wars Mandalorian palette. I have to be pretty careful. This shade came smashed when I got this. I got this as a gift. And this is what this one looks like. I love this little one. This is on Cloud Blue. This was not their original blue palette, but it's like a little bit softer, I think. A little more pastel than their original blue. This is probably my favorite one, and I think it has a broken shade. Oh no, it doesn't. This is the It's My Pleasure palette, and it's just, I think this, out of all of my ColourPop palettes, I think this is still probably my favorite. I love this one. In a Trance, I lied, it's not blue, it's purple. But it came in that same collection. So pretty. Cotton Candy. Lilac You a Lot. Kind of a one-trick pony, but beautiful nonetheless. It's this one. This one has a broken shade. This is Ooh La La. I don't know if you can tell how beat up this is. I used to bring this palette to work at my last job, and it has seen better days. This used to be a dark purple shade, but it fell out. Ironically, on this carpet that I'm on, that's stark white and is now destroyed. I actually need to replace this carpet, but nonetheless, this is the Ooh La La palette. We're getting there. Next, we have Cloud Spun. This one is also super cute. Very pink. A cult classic is Going Coconuts. Just like such an easy palette to work with because it's so neutral. I think one trick pony bit about this is that if you are a medium or dark skin tone, this probably will not work for you. So this is a one trick pony in the fact that it will only work if your name is Patricia or Katie, you know. It's not, it is not very versatile in terms of depth. On the contrary, I have the Wild Child palette, which is much more deep. I think this one is kind of similar to Going Coconuts in the sense that if you have a medium or deep, maybe deep dark, maybe not deep dark, but if you have a darker skin tone than medium, you can use this one as like an everyday neutral. So pretty. This is the Wine and Only palette. I did a review, a dedicated review when this came out. I loved this palette. It is really, really fun. Love. This is the last 9 pan. This is the Blush Crush palette. Also like pretty light in tone. Even on my skin tone, this one sometimes doesn't always show up the best, but it is a really pretty color story. Okay, just kidding. Here's another 9 pan palette. This, I got confused because these are in a different container than the rest, but I digress. This is the Hello Kitty and Friends. This came out in, golly, the fall or winter of 2021. No. Winter of 2020. And it's a pretty basic color story, but it's super cute and easy for every day. Enjoy. I still have the Malibu Barbie palette. This was really fun. I really enjoyed this color story. It's pretty fun to create different looks with it, but it's also like fairly intuitive. Really enjoy this one. One of my favorite palettes of all time from ColourPop is the Good as Gold palette. I think they finally discontinued this, but it is so good. It's like so versatile, so many different seasons that you can use it for. Love. The Bye Bye Birdie palette, I'm fairly confident they don't have this one anymore, but it is a really beautiful color story, very pinky and mauve. All right, last two. I still have my At Forest Sight palette from Raw Beauty Christie, and this is what that looks like. It was a time. It was a time to be alive. Like, it was so fun when I heard that that was launching. I just think it's so pretty. I'll have a hard time ever getting rid of that one. And the last one that I have is my Sailor Moon, the original one. I do want to pick up, I think, the second collab, but it wasn't the same hype around it, because at the time no one had done anything Sailor Moon, so this was like highly coveted. I do enjoy this one. Nice formula, nice color story. Happy to have it. All right, we are on the second to last drawer. It is insane that I've been filming this long. Okay, so we have in this one Huda Beauty, Laura Lee Los Angeles, Tati Beauty, did I say Lunar Beauty, Laura Lee Los Angeles, Huda, and Melt. So the first one we have is the Whimsical Nudes palette by Laura Lee Los Angeles, and it is beautiful. A little bit different for Laura, honestly, but I'm glad, because it's different in, like, it still reigns true to who she is and what she loves, but it's fun. This is her Nudie Patootie palette. It's discontinued at this point, but this is just like a neutral lover's dream. So easy and fun to play with. I absolutely love this one. This one's also discontinued. This is the Candy Skies palette she did in collaboration with her niece. I think my only gripe with this one is that this shade right here, and then this one, and this one. So these three are a little bit tricky to navigate, because a lot of these are, the mattes are pastel. So the shimmers being a little bit darker kind of threw me for a loop. Still enjoy it. This is the Nudie number 2. This was my favorite palette of hers for such a long time. It's like busted and crusted because I've used it about 1,000 times. I have to like stop myself from using this one constantly because it's just so easy to create everyday looks with. Love this color story, because this is their collaboration with Laura Lee Los Angeles and Lunar Beauty, and another like very easy to play with neutral palette. I think it suits both of them very well in terms of, like, there's definitely Laura in here with the neutrals and the comfortable, you know, everyday shades, but then there are some like splashes of like lunar funness, you know. Love this. If for no other reason, like, I had to have this because I love these two so much. Okay, continuing on the Lunar Beauty train, we have the Nude Prism. I feel like most people, this is their favorite one from Lunar Beauty. Again, it's just like very easy every day. Absolutely stunning. I love this one. This one is an underrated gem. This is the Eternal Eclipse. Very cool toned, like grungy, smoky neutral palette. Really, really enjoy this one. This is the Strawberry Dream palette. Such a fun, unique color story. The packaging on Lunar Beauty gets me every time. It's just too good. This is his newest one, and it is the Siren Sunset palette. I did a look, I think, golly, a couple weeks ago on my channel with this one. This one is so special. This is probably my favorite Lunar Beauty palette to date. I love this one. The special shades in here, too good. This is his Life's a Drag Facelift palette. I'll be honest, I do not get use as much as I should out of this one, but it's a very versatile palette. You can do colorful, you can do neutral. Love. All right, last two Lunar Beauty palettes. If you know Lunar Beauty, you know what's missing. This is the Moonspell Volume 1 palette. This was like revolutionary when it came out. I was so excited. Loved it. The packaging is still on beat. A spell book. Come on. Come on. And then Volume 2. This one got a bit of flack. I remember when it came out, people didn't love the formula as much. People didn't love the color story as much. I liked both just as much. I just think it's pretty. It's different. It's different. But I still think it's fun. Love it. I only have 3 palettes in front of me from e.l.f. Cosmetics. They just had their Black Friday deal where things were up to 80% off. So I placed a huge e.l.f. Cosmetics order, including their new, oh my gosh, Nightmare Before Christmas palettes. I have not yet, I should say, ordered the Bailey Sarian palette. I probably will. But for right now, I only have these 3 in front of me. I had the Smoke Sessions palette, but I ordered mine the day that it launched, which at this point was years ago, and they had a super issue and like all the shadows like puffed up and got ruined. I digress. These are the ones I have. So this is the Gemini 2 palette. Super romantic and grungy. Stunning. This was just on sale for their Black Friday for like 25 bucks. It was a heck of a deal. And then this is the remastered Gemini palette. So pretty. I remember when Gemini launched, I wanted it so bad and I could never get my hands on it because it was always sold out. So I'm glad that they redid it and it's in stock. And then finally I have the Mary Jane palette. This one is just like very grungy and smoky. Like, I don't know if you can tell, probably not. The camera's not gonna pick it up, but these are kind of like a grungy khaki color. It's just a unique, cool toned color story. I have the newest Huda Beauty palette in my possession. I just have no idea where it is. Well, I'm gonna talk about, oh, I forgot a Melt palette too. I'm gonna talk about the Huda Beauty palettes next, but know that I have the newest one. I think it's called Pretty Grunge. It's just, I have no idea where it went. But this is my actual last Milk Cosmetics palette. This one was like such a unique color story, and I feel like kind of underrated. It's super pigmented, which is kind of the name of the game with Milk Cosmetics. Everything is going to be so pigmented. So you have to be ready to blend, you know? But we're going to hop into Huda Beauty. So this is the Empowered palette. It came out last year. And I just thought this was like so beautiful. I need to actually remember to play with this one. This is the Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette remastered. I never had the original, but I still have this oldie but goodie. I still enjoy it. It's like so strange, but like it's still just fine, you know? I still enjoy it. I remember when that Rose Gold palette came out, was it Thomas Halbert gave Huda such guff. He was hot on the case. Anyways, and then I also have the Mercury Retrograde palette. I go through phases with this one. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I'm like meh, but I hold on to it because it's a classic, and at this point I don't think you can even get it anymore, which is like so weird because I feel like so many people love that palette. This is the Tati Beauty Volume 1. I bought this launch day 1700 years ago. I haven't used it in forever because it's probably expired, and also it's in the back of my darn drawer, so I can't ever get to it, but I love it. It's just so special. It is so special. Like, guys, do you remember these glitters? I don't know if you remember. Look at these glitters. Like, just so good. Such a good palette. It's like such a freaking shame that operation got shut down. Such a shame. That is all of my eyeshadow palettes. I honestly can't even tell you how many there are. With the exception of that Huda Beauty one. I gotta find it. It's gotta be bouncing around here somewhere. But thank you guys so much for watching this entire video. If you did, I am curious to know which palettes you have, which palettes you think I should add to my collection. My declutter is coming right up, so I'm curious to know also like what palettes you think I should declutter. Maybe get rid of that Tati Beauty one. Oh my god. It was like so impulsive. I don't even know why I have it, but I digress. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would love it so much if you would subscribe to my channel down below. And as always, please stay happy, stay healthy, and stay blessed. And I will see you on the next video. Bye.